So good, so good, so good.
Great brands, great prices. Everyone's got a reason to rack.
You know they have Marc Jacobs?
Nike? Yes.
Just so many good brands.
Vince, Birkenstock, and more brands you love are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Plus, buy it online and pick it up in-store the same day for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Birds of the Round Table. Welcome in to another Monday edition of the show. Thank you all for joining us here. We are going to be doing our wide receiver rankings. If you've been following us the whole time, 2 weeks ago, we started our top 16 quarterbacks. Last week, we did our top 16 running backs. And now it's time for the wide receivers. And to help me do that, joining me, as always, is David at PHL Eagle News. David, what's going on, buddy?
Doing great, man. I like the new format. I'm not having as much difficulty getting used to it because I really never learned the old one. So I'm good to go with this.
Okay, well, there you go. That sounds pretty good. Also joining as well, Shane at Shane Half NFL. Shane, what's going on, buddy?
What's up? I'm actually just trying to figure out if we're actually live or if we're just commenting into the void here. But I'm good. Just trying to learn a new system.
Yeah, we switched over
so
our.
If y'all are watching, drop us a comment.
Software
so we know
or studio, if you will. So we're all learning it on the fly here. So should be interesting. And last but not least, Dives at Mr. Crockpot. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, echoing what Shane said. If you're watching us live, chat a little more than usual because we're trying to work out the kinks here.
So we are live on YouTube, but it's under a different stream.
What?
It's not the one you actually set up, which is weird. So I'm going to go try to drop a comment that one to tell people where to find us because there's people waiting. But you guys go on.
So
I'll catch up.
On Facebook, certainly give us a comment, a like, or whatever. Just let us know here. But while we figure out all of the technical stuff here, we're still going to be live here talking wide receivers. Again, if you have not already, please go back on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're watching right now. You can find the last 2 weeks' episodes where we did our top 16 quarterbacks and top 16 running backs. So now it's time to go for the wide receivers here. Does anybody want to volunteer and start with their number 16? I'm going to say not David because he usually doesn't know where and who he put.
I'll go first.
I know this time. I'm ready.
Oh, yeah? All right, fine. David, let's go. Who you got?
Number 16, I have T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. I still think that's a good, ranking of him. I know some people might have him higher, but dude is a monster on the boundary and the deep third when he's healthy. He bounced back last season with another 1,000-yard plus season. He always shows good chemistry with Burrow, and he has number one wide receiver potential, if he was on some other teams, and he's just too good to fade. If Burrow is under center, he has the talent to be a weekly mismatch, in my opinion.
There you go. Shane, you had him all the way up at 13.
Yeah, he's kind of one of those guys that's difficult to rank, and I'm going to say that a few times on this show. But if you just look at his stats, he was 30th in yard per route run, which, he has Jamar Chase, who we're going to talk about later, eating into his target share quite a bit. But if you look at his EPA stats and his success rate stats, he's 11th in EPA per target, 6th in success rate. He thrives in contested catch situations, but it's not the only way that he can win. I think the Bengals have a fantastic 1-2 duo. There's going to be two guys off of that team that make my list here, and there's going to be one other team that people are going to like.
Yeah, no,
I have two
I
guys
agree.
For my list,
I
but
when I was
think
kind of
T.
doing
Higgins is
the
just a
back
really
end
good
of this
player.
list, I couldn't come up with a reason to not have him on my list. So he made it number 15 for me. Dibes, any reason why you didn't want T. Higgins on your list?
No, you'll see my list. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with a lot of these young kids, and that's kind of going to be the trend. And when it comes to T. Higgins, the injury concerns, when he's healthy, he's a baller, no doubt. And he's in a pass-heavy offense, great quarterback, good situations, just, being able to be on the field consistently, that's why he's off mine.
All right, there we go. Why don't we stick with you, and why don't you give us your number 16?
Speaking of the Kool-Aid, this is my ranking, so I don't care. So I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 16 for mine. Didn't quite live up to the hype as a rookie. I thought he was going to be one of those plug-and-play elite wide receivers from day one. But he was in a weird offense. There was no design screens. He wasn't really a deep threat. And I think I expect a lot more in 2025 out of him. He's still at 8 touchdowns, but 37th in catches, 30th in yards. So I think this guy has huge upside, and I am ready. I'm still on that side of the fence that he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver when all is said and done.
Yeah, listen, he's an absolute stud in the making, but you're right. He kind of didn't have the greatest rookie season. But David, you had him at number 15. Tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, my ranking is a little bit like Dives. There's a considerable amount of potential and projection put into that, but he had a really good rookie season. I think he had 8 touchdowns in a very conservative Cardinals offense. And despite that, he still flashed alpha ability. Like, with another year under his belt and Kyler Murray healthy, Harrison will be featured more. And if Arizona ever opens up their offense, he could be one of the biggest breakouts at wide receiver in his second year this upcoming season.
Yeah. Shane, you chose to not have him on your list.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to rank rookies, second-year players, and I still believe in Marvin Harrison Jr., but it wasn't a great rookie season, and I think there's some extenuating circumstances for that, but I just can't put him in my top 16 currently. It wouldn't surprise me if I do it after this season, but just based on what we've seen in the NFL so far, I couldn't put him up that high, and he's not the first guy that missed. Like, there's a couple
same.
other guys
I kind of had him
I wanted
just
to get
right
onto
off,
this list way worse
probably
than
17
him.
or 18. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough there at the end to kind of finalize our list here. Shane, we'll stick with you here. Number 16, who do you got?
Yeah, I had a guy that, if I remember correctly, none of you guys had, and it's Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey was awesome in his rookie season, and he needs to work on his drop rate. He had a 7.1% drop rate last year, and that's something he needs to clean up. But among all receivers in the NFL, he was 10th in yards per route run. He was 6th in EPA per target, 8th in success rate, 6th in boom rate. And that's as a rookie. And so I really liked him coming out in the draft, but I couldn't have been more impressed with last season. And he's got some limits with his size, but he's a great separator. I think he is well deserving of a spot on this list, and I really expect him to have an even bigger sophomore campaign.
Just fell off my list
assuming
here.
He's able to stay healthy.
But yeah, I had him slightly above Marvin. So, David, you didn't have him on your list either.
Yeah, he was literally my number 17 guy. Basically, it came down between him, Higgins, and Harrison Jr., and I left him off because mainly because of his drop rate. It had nothing to do with his size. I think he showed that size wasn't a factor for him. I mean, the guy had, I think, 1,150 yards, something like that, 7 touchdowns. I loved him coming out of Georgia. I had him like the 15th, 20th prospect in the whole draft. I would have liked if the Eagles had drafted him. I mean, I'm all about the super offense. I love having all the wide receivers there. But yeah, I mean, he's a great player. It was just a numbers crunch.
Yeah, Dibes.
Yeah, same. I think the same thing as T. Higgins, where just the injury concerns, shoulder, turf toe, knee, like it's just been ongoing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I will give you all my number 16. I had Philadelphia Eagles, Devontae Smith, the receiver of the dagger that truly ended the Super Bowl. Devontae Smith, I think, is certainly an underrated wide receiver. Kind of gets lost having A.J. Brown as a teammate sometimes, and obviously sometimes as Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. Mostly, again, doesn't really throw for a ton of yards, like maybe some of the quarterbacks, with receivers on this list as well. But I felt Devontae just had to be on this list. Obviously, you guys felt the same. David, you had him at number 14.
Yeah, the only reason he was even that low just because he has played second fiddle to A.J. Brown in the offense. I mean, 833 yards, but he did post, I think it was his most ever, 8 touchdowns. He comes up big anytime Brown faces double teams. He continues to benefit from Brown's gravitational pull for, double coverages. Philly's passing game can support two, wide receiver one level producers, and quite frankly, Smith is one of the safest bets in the league, as a wide receiver too. And he's another guy who'd be a wide receiver one on probably half a dozen franchises.
Yeah. Dives number 9.
Yeah, if we see this Eagles offense evolve, it's going to be, becoming a more balanced attack, becoming a more aggressive passing attack. And there are a lot of times that I thought Devontae left us wanting more, whether that was him or the coaching staff. And I think what we saw last year, it works, whether that's mesh or the slants or getting him out in open space. He only had like 350 yards after 350 yards. What's the word? Not after contact. Oh my God, in open space. After the catch, 350 yards after the catch, and that's not enough for Devontae. I think
After
he's
catch,
a lightning in a bottle. He's dynamic. He's a guy that I have rated in my top 10 because I'm ranking mine based on just, I think, pure talent.
Gotcha. Shane, number 12.
yeah, you can have a lot of the T. Higgins conversation about Devontae Smith as well. They're clearly both the number 2 receivers on their team. I think there's, wide receiver one upside for both of them, but there's no doubt they both benefit from the situation that they're in, and it really helps their efficiency. Devontae Smith, 9th in EPA per target, 4th in boom rate, 12th in success rate, 20th in yards per route run this season, and he's doing that as the wide receiver 2 on his team. And so for both of those guys, I think for them to be fully appreciated, they'd have to.
Gotcha. All right. Let's go with Dives. You're number 15. Who do you got?
My number 15, this is just another feel, and I'm going with Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN. Always been a big fan of his out of the draft, and he's entering his 3rd year. He had a breakout year in 2024. He ranked top 10 among wide receivers in routes, receptions, yardage, and he's just so elite, working those short areas. He only had 6 touchdowns. He didn't have a lot of end zone targets, but I'm hoping this year he gets more downfield opportunities, and I just think the sky's the limit. And who's their quarterback now? Is it Darnold?
It's Darnold, yeah.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. So there's a little uncertainty there, but I think he's a star. He's only 23 years old, and I just think he's like Marvin Harrison Jr. is just going to be a guy that could be in the top 10.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like we lost Shane. These things,
list, doesn't he?
Yeah, these things do happen when you have new technology that you're trying to figure out, and that's all good. So we will continue on without him until he comes back. But I have the list here, so fear not. We'll continue, although we may not be able to show it the same way. But I'll go with Shane. He may not be able to talk about it, but his number 15 is New York Giant Malik Neighbors. Looks like Dives, you had him at number 13. I had him at number 11. And David, you had him at number 12. David, talk to me about Malik Neighbors.
He's good. I mean, he's really good. Yeah, he suffered from shaky, and I'm being kind there, shaky quarterback play. I mean, with more offensive continuity and a full off season to build chemistry with, who's the quarterback, Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Perhaps.
Neighbors could erupt. I mean, I expect like a Garrett Wilson style sophomore leap with him. Like I think he's, super talented guy, man. I think I had him 12th overall.
Yeah. Hey, Shane, you're back.
Sorry, my power decided to flicker and killed my computer and my internet and all that stuff. But I'm back.
Oh, okay. Well, it wasn't the new technology. It was just Shane's power source.
Yeah.
Well, we just mentioned you had number 15, Malik Neighbors. Why did you have him at number 15?
Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors. So I think two things are true about Malik Neighbors. One is I think he's really good. And two is I think he was dramatically overrated by people last year by virtue of being the only option on a terrible football team. He was among qualifying receivers. He was 68th in on-target catch rate. So 67 guys caught a higher percentage of on-target passes than he did. He was 71st in drop rate, 47th in EPA per target, 52nd in success rate, 66th in boom rate. Now, there were some horrific quarterbacks for sure feeding him the ball. And so he is hard to place, but I do think he's been overrated by people because he was literally the only thing that the Giants had going for him last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Dives, your thoughts on Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, just another guy that's ready to break out and be a top 5, top 10 wide receiver. What I have, number 13. He's going to get a lot of targets. He's got Russell Wilson, which is a huge upgrade, like Shane said. So I'm big on him.
All right. Yeah, I was certainly the highest on him. Again, I think he has potential to be a top 10 wide receiver and potentially even higher when all said and done. So, Dives, let's go back to you. You're number 15. Who do you got? Oh, wait, we just did that.
We already did that. I can go.
We already did that. My apologies. I forgot we talked about Jackson Smith and Jigba. We got distracted by Shane abruptly quitting the show.
Yeah, my bad.
It's okay. None of us else had JSN on our list. David, any particular reason why you didn't include Jackson Smith in Jigba?
I didn't even have him in the top 20 when I wrote that down. It's not a knock on him per se. I mean, I do like him. I was big on him coming out of college as well. But he had he had a much lower grade against single coverage than anybody else on this list.
Okay. And Shane, any reason why you didn't include him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good but not great receiver. I just don't think he cracks the top 16 at this point in his career. So,
yeah.
Maybe that changes for him down the road. He needs a little more versatility in his game and some things. But yeah, for now, I just couldn't justify putting him in the top 16.
Yeah, and considering now he doesn't have DK Metcalf on the other side, he has Sam Darnold throwing it to him. Again, going from Geno Smith to Sam Darnold, not necessarily the upgrade anybody wanted there in Seattle. So, all right.
It's what Seattle wanted for some reason.
Yeah, apparently. All right. Dives, you're number 14.
I went with Mike Evans. He's 32 years old, but he's still borderline elite. He might be a future Hall of Famer. Age aside, I mean, he's been as reliant as they come. He's consistent. He's just a very, very good wide receiver. And I'm curious, Chris Godwin returned to that offense, correct?
Yes.
He's there. So now he's healthy. That might change some things. Because I'm a big Chris Godwin guy. But anyway, I think despite all the concerns, I think Mike Evans, he's just old reliable. He's not showing any signs of slowing down, and he's a stud.
All right, David, number 10.
Yeah, I mean, he's unstoppable in the red zone. He rarely loses a contested catch. 2024 was his 11th straight 1,000-yard season. He led the league in end zone targets. Even if father time starts creeping in, Evan has the style of play that kind of ages well. Baker Mayfield locks onto him on third downs and in the red zone, and dude's just a touchdown machine. What do you have last year? I mean, 11 or something. I mean, he's a beast, man.
Yeah. No, I've same thing, David. Yeah, this guy is captain consistency, and even again, if he's starts to show the signs of wearing down a little bit, I still feel like he's going to be productive. Certainly on his on the later end of his career, but still very high producing. Shane, you had him all the way up at number 7.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like his game is kind of ageless in the way that he plays, and he has 11 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, and he achieved that with quarterbacks Josh McCown, Jameis Winston, Tom Brady, of course, and now Baker Mayfield. He's just reliable no matter what. Last season, he was 6th in yards per route run and 3rd in success rate, and so at 32, he's still trucking along. He's Mr. Reliable for Baker, and I just think he's about one of the most sure things on this list year in and year out.
Yeah. All right. Okay, Shane, why don't we stick with you at number 14?
Yeah, I've got Garrett Wilson at number 14, and he's tough to evaluate because he's continually had bad quarterback play, but he just puts up 1,000-yard seasons. And so I want to see him with good quarterback play. And maybe that doesn't happen this year with Justin Fields. Maybe it does. Maybe that finally works out. But he's one of those guys, and there's another guy we're going to talk about later that I've said this before that fell off of this list for me. But he just continues to do it with bad quarterbacks. And I think that's got to say something about him as a player. And so until I see him with a good quarterback, he's a little harder to evaluate overall, but I think he's a solid guy.
Yeah. I also had him on my list. I had him number 14 as well. I think the potential is there. I just think the consistency needs to follow. And I'm sure quarterback play has a lot to do with that. But when he is on and, he's got a competent quarterback, he can be one of the better wide receivers in this league. Dives, why don't you tell us why you chose not to include Garrett Wilson?
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, gotcha.
I had Garrett Wilson on my list at one point in time, but he just missed it. I think he's a terrific wide receiver. So he just missed the cut. I think his body control and route running and just being a reliable receiver when healthy is terrific.
Yeah. David?
Yeah, I mean, I'll preface this by saying I'm rooting for Justin Fields, but I'm not going to bank on that. And kind of like Shane said, until he has proven it that he can, and get more consistent quarterback play, I think it's very difficult for him to, get into the upper echelon of the top 16 wide receivers at this point.
All right, David, we will stick with you. Your number 13 wide receiver.
Drake London.
Yep.
All right. I'm 2 for 2 on remembering my list. Drake. I mean, he's finally going to be in an offense with a real quarterback. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what they do down there. But he showed what he could do with Cousins: 1,271 yards, 9 touchdowns. He has a high catch rate. London, should be fed more in the red zone, play action. He's a good possession receiver, and he puts up wide receiver 1 numbers without any of the hype. And I think this season might be finally his coming out party where you're going to start seeing him get some of the flowers he deserves.
Gotcha. Yeah, I also had him at number 13. I think he's just a guy that's just immensely talented. He's got great size, and I just think, hopefully he can kind of create a nice bond with Michael Penix and, be the Roma Dunze to Michael Penix a la college. But, I'm just kind of waiting for him to have his huge season. And he's quietly, having good seasons. It's just He hasn't really had that boom one just yet. Dives, you had him at number 12.
Yeah, I really like Drake London. In fact, I had him ranked higher than this initially. I'm a big fan of Michael Penix, as we all know, and I think he has given the targets and Drake London and how he can be a deep threat. I think he could put up a lot of yards, but there's some boomer bust to him because of our previous show. I had Bijan going for Saquon's record this year. I think Bijan's going to have a huge year, and it's a run heavy offense, so who knows?
All right, and Shane, number 11.
Yeah, he's a toolsy guy that finally had a good year last year, and he's been handicapped by some poor quarterback play and poor coaching as well. 12th in yards per route run last year. I'm excited to see him, what that connection with Michael Penix is going to look like, but I just think he's got a lot of tools if it can translate into, the Michael Penix offense this year. There's a chance he's top 10 for me next year.
Gotcha. All right, moving right along to my number 12, I had Jacksonville Jaguar Brian Thomas Jr. What he showed his first year in the league was certainly something, and not necessarily having the greatest quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, but it seems like Jacksonville wants to kind of build themselves an offense with drafting Travis Hunter to kind of go on the other side of Brian Thomas there. I think this is only going to be great for Thomas. He clearly, is insanely talented, and I think, if we do this thing next year, I wouldn't doubt he's probably, my top 8. But I just, again, I'm a guy that needs to kind of see it for more than just one season, so I probably would have had him a little higher had he had another season under his belt. David, your thoughts, number 11.
Yeah, I really like him. Him and Ladd McConkey were the two wide receivers. I'd have been thrilled to have the Eagles selected in that draft, but he's a physical freak, man, with elite deep ball skills, surprising polish as a rookie. He showed immediate impact with 1,282 yards, 10 touchdowns. He gave the Jaguars a vertical presence that was desperately needed. And year 2 breakout could be even, better. Calvin Ridley is gone. Christian Kirk's role has shifted, and Thomas is the deep end intermediate alpha on that team for Trevor Lawrence. So I think the sky's the limit for this kid.
Gotcha. Right. Shane, number 10.
Yeah, he's got to clean up the drops a little bit. He had some drop issues last year, but he's got a freakish athletic profile. He made a splash last season with the Jags, and I think he's only going to get better. Like, if you were asking me to pick, like, one of these young receivers that's going to push to be like a top 3 guy in the next couple of seasons, I think Brian Thomas Jr. would be my pick. I was really impressed with him last year, and, he gets into the back end of my top 10 after his rookie season.
Nice. And Dives, you had him at number 11.
Just echoing what everyone said, he's got Liam Cohen now. I think the ex-offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Bucks, and we saw how impactful guys like Mike Evans was in that offense. So again, deep threat and could have put up major yards.
Awesome. All right, Dives, we'll stick with you. Your number 10 wide receiver. Who do you got?
Number 10. What didn't I have? Let me see. Who did I got?
Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. Yes. And I feel like I'm too low on him. It's crazy to me that he's my number 10, but had a breakout year last year under Jaden Daniels. It was really nice to see as a big, scary Terry guy. I just think he's just like Mike Evans, just all reliable. He's going to put up good yards this year. Maybe not have like elite numbers, but I feel he's going to be consistent and always making plays.
All right. Shane, do you not have Terry McLaurin?
I did not.
Explain.
So he's the guy that I mentioned when I talked about Garrett Wilson. For years, I lauded Terry McLaurin having consistent production under bad quarterbacks. Like, Case Keenum, Alex Smith, Taylor Heineke, Sam Darnold, 1,000-yard season after 1,000-yard season. He's had 1,000 yards every year except his rookie year when he had 919. But then last season, you get Jaden Daniels, and he bursts onto the scene, and he still just has 1,000 yards. He did have 13 touchdowns, but I didn't see the big jump in production that I expected now that he's with a really good quarterback. And maybe he's just not going to mesh with Jaden Daniels. Maybe it was just a blip of a year, but he was 29th in yards per route run, 67th in success rate. As good as Washington was last year, I came out of the year feeling worse about Terry McLaurin. And so he's the guy that just missed my top 16, that it kind of surprised me as I went through it. But as I thought back on it, I came out of last season lower on him than I went into it. You're talking on mute, Ryan.
Sorry about that. Just to mention, we are having a little issues with our comments. We apologize. We're not kind of seeing it where we normally do, but we do want to thank those, especially on YouTube. I'm showing Eagles Eric is chiming in, Brett Eclipse, a couple other guys. So thank you guys. We do see them. We're just kind of not able to utilize them the way we normally do. So apologies. David, you had Terry McLaurin number 8.
Yeah, I like him. He's polished, physical, consistent. His 13 touchdowns were almost double of any other season he ever had. I think the most he ever had prior to that was 7. He was clearly Daniel's go-to target on crucial downs, and I think he was impactful. I think he proved to be consistent every single week. I was impressed with him, and I think that he'll probably be integrated even more than he was because, like Shane mentioned, they could have used him a lot more than they did, and I expect them to do such.
Yeah, that's David. You said a great thing. That's kind of why I kind of maybe bumped him a little higher than maybe what I was originally thinking. I just think that offense. Again, it's going to kind of grow, and they need to figure themselves out. But Terry needs to be a little bit more of a part of that, and obviously getting Debo. Hopefully that'll open up a little bit some things for Terry to kind of do his thing, and again, maybe that's all that Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin need to kind of up their game, so to speak, in their connection. So, and
getting clamped by Quinion, twice a season isn't easy either.
That always sucks, right? All righty. So it looks like I'm up. Number 10, I have Tyreek Hill. This is, Shane has certainly mentioned it a few times, a guy who's hard to kind of figure out. You look at what he's done in this league, and man, when he's out on that field and he's doing his thing, he's one of the best. Insanely fast, just catches anything and just runs for the end zone. But he had a down season last year, and the connection with Tua seemed to be a little off. Obviously, Tua himself seemed to be a little off and injured. So yeah, there's a lot of factors why I think he got pushed back down the list here. For me, years past, he's a top 3 guy. But right now I think he needs to prove he can be healthy, and that offense needs to prove that it can still be prolific when they're out there. So, David, you had a number 9.
Yeah, I only had him that high just because of his potential, and if he plays 15 plus games with competent quarterback play, he's likely going to be a top 5 scorer. But he's aging. Yes, he's 31 years old, but he's still untouchable with the ball in his hands and among the fastest and most feared deep threats in the NFL. McDaniel's system creates space for him on a weekly basis, so I would be surprised if he doesn't show out again in 2025.
Yeah. Dives, number 8 for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, like David said, and like we talked about with Devin Achane during their running back show, like if Tua is healthy, watch out, because both of those guys are going to put up some crazy numbers as we have seen.
All right. And Shane, number 9.
Yeah, his production dipped last season, which is expected, I think, with some of the quarterback things. But what is more concerning to me is the dip in his explosive play rate. He only had 5 catches of 20-plus air yards last year on 19 attempts. His previous 2 years were 22 for 38 and 19 for 39. So what has always made him so good is his speed, his deep threat. And if that starts to go, he doesn't have the type of game that's going to age well. We talked about Mike Evans and how his game will age well. Tyreek's won't. When he loses that step, he's going to struggle. And I don't think he's lost that step, but it didn't translate into explosive plays last year. And so it's something I'm cautious about heading into 2025.
Sure. All right. Yeah, just to kind of read a YouTube comment there from Brett Eclipse. Quinyon Mitchell mocking Scary Terry was one of my favorite non-scoring moments from the playoffs last year, easily. That was very good.
He held him to what, like 3 catches, something on those.
Yeah, something ridiculous. He locked him up. Quinyon is.
Although wasn't one of them a touchdown?
Yeah, it was like I think it was like an 8-yard touchdown, something like that. It was. I don't remember.
I think it was just like his first touchdown. I remember it happening. It was like, what just happened?
Yeah,
it was
yeah. It was
he was so elite the entire season up until that point.
Yeah, it was like a weird play but that wasn't. I don't think that was the playoffs. I think that was the second game.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. But anyway, Shane, number 8 on your wide receiver list. Who do you got?
I've got Nico Collins at number 8, and again, I feel like I struggled with receiver rankings more than anything so far because he's another guy that's tough to rank, right? Great deep threat with his size speed combination. He really broke out in CJ Stroud's rookie season, and he's 4th in yards per route run. He had over a 5% drop rate last year, but I think there's a lot of potential there, especially with that connection that he has with CJ Stroud. And especially at his physical profile. So he's number 8 for me. It's probably hard not to let what the Texans did last season kind of impact that a little bit. And I don't know that that's fair entirely because Nico Collins was still good and there's lots of injury things going on last year, but he did drop almost 300 yards from his 2023 season. And I just like to see him back around those 2023 totals in production.
Yeah, absolutely. Dives, number 7.
Yeah, when he's on the field and healthy, he's terrific. And the good thing about Nico Collins, gets nearly 60% of end zone targets. So, I mean, he's right there. Rightfully so, as a top 10 guy.
All right. David, you had him all the way up at number 5, top 5.
Yeah, I really like him. He's big, smooth, increasingly polished. He's a true X receiver. He's still growing chemistry with Stroud. He dominated in play action and third downs, and with Diggs gone and Tank Dell healing and kind of more of like a gadget deep option, Nico is the guy for CJ Stroud. So I expect more volume and top 10 wide receiver production this season.
Yeah, David, I couldn't have said it better. He's just a fun wide receiver to watch. And yeah, that connection with CJ is certainly something. And he's a guy that, like you said, can be a deep threat, but you throw him the ball anywhere on that field and, he's a threat to make a play. So, that's definitely why I had him just outside of my top 5. All right, moving on to my number 8. I had Rams receiver Puka Nacua. Obviously, I'm a little, higher or lower, I guess I should say, in my rankings than the rest of the guys here. But listen, I think it might be, my Matthew Stafford hate. Maybe it's my, I don't know what it is because you look at him and everything on paper and everything he does on that field shows that he should be a top 5 guy. I just am a little reserved on it. I don't know why, and that's probably why I bopped him down a few spots. So, whatever you can call me out all you want, but yeah, I don't know. There was something that I just kind of couldn't throw him in my top 5. Which, again, obviously you guys felt pretty comfortable doing. So, Dives, you had him all the way up number 6.
shout out to Ryan's hatred on Matthew Stafford. Those were some good times back in the day, man.
Right. Hey, listen,
I forgot about that.
Once I hate you, it's for life.
You wouldn't let it go during that entire week.
No.
Oh, so that's great. Yeah, I mean, I guess the concern is Devontae Adams and, how that's going to impact Puka Nakua's numbers and target share. And I still think Nakua is going to get the front end of those looks, but he's still, elite. I had him, number 6, right outside of my top 5. He's elite.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane, you had him at number 5.
Yeah, I just think he's a really good route runner. He's got really good hands. First in yards per route run, 8th in on-target catch rate, 9th in success rate, 5th in drop rate. He kind of does it all, and he just had that natural chemistry right away with Stafford. Stafford trusts him to be where he's supposed to be, and he's there, and Stafford delivers. And they've just got a great connection, and Nakua has exceeded, I think, anybody's expectations over his first couple of years in the league.
Yeah. David, all the way up at number 4 for Puka.
Yeah, man, he's tough, smart, technically sound. Dude was born to catch 100 balls a year. Like Shane said, he was 5th in drop rate. Stafford is still sharp despite Ryan's hate, and Nakua is probably now the focal point of the offense. I believe his target share will still be elite. Last year, he totaled 990 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he can accomplish a lot more than that, and I expect him to in 2025.
All right, well, that Stafford fall off is going to be celebrated for sure by me. Number 7, David. Who do you got for your 7th ranked wide receiver?
CeeDee Lamb. He's a creative route runner, elite agility and separation. Even without Dak for a lot of the season, he still had almost 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns. Mike McCarthy will continue feeding him from every formation. He's a wide receiver 1 who gets wide receiver 1 workload and usually displays wide receiver 1 results. Then I expect him to continue that again.
All right. Let's see. Dives, number 5.
Yeah, he's elite. There's no doubt. And despite the things he had to say about Quinyon Mitchell this offseason, like when he's with Dak Prescott, when they're on the field together, they are pretty good. So you look at George Pickens, like Devontae Adams, might that take away from CeeDee Lamb's targets? I don't think so whatsoever. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to get his targets, and he's going to get his yards and touchdowns, just like Puka. So there it is.
All right. And Shane, you had him at number 6.
Yeah, it was a rough year last year, statistically. He operated without Dak for half the season. I think that having George Pickens out there is going to help him out a lot because there's finally another receiving threat. And he's so good. He operates a ton out of the slot, which I think has always been his best usage. And I think he gets knocked for that sometimes, but I just don't really think that's fair. I understand knocking like a guy like Ladd McConkey, who's smaller, that can't really do a lot outside at times. But for a guy like Lamb that can, and just his best usage has been in the slot, I don't have that problem. So I think he's awesome, and he's number 6 for me.
Yeah. Again, it was a bit of a down year. Again, a lot of factors went into that. But, yeah, I certainly think he's going to return back to his normal, all-pro self, especially with Pickens kind of hopefully stealing, some of the pressure off of him. And, again, if Dak is healthy, I fully expect him to perform like he normally does. So, David, going back to you, your number 6 wide receiver.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's likely the best route runner not named Justin Jefferson. He's a pure surgical assassin, 1,263 yards, 12 touchdowns. He is one of the only other receivers I think could use the same moniker A.J. Brown does, that he's always open. He's also Goff's safety valve, chain mover, favorite red zone target. Detroit's offense hums through him, and another all-pro season's incoming for him.
Yeah, he's another fun wide receiver to watch, especially in that offense. Yeah, he just kind of moves so fluidly, and Goff. Yeah, I mean the connection that the two of them have is, they've really lifted each other up. And now that, a wide receiver like Jamison Williams is, out of his troubles and finally coming into his own. That certainly has been opening things up even more for Amon-Ra. So, Dives, you had him at number 4.
Yeah, he's just such an elite route runner, man. He just makes defensive backs look so silly. And echoing everything David said, just being the true, that amount of gravity he holds on offense for that Lions offense is sensational. So he's got to be in the top 5.
Shane, you also had him at number 4.
Yeah, just elite route runner, elite hands, so productive. First in EPA per target among all receivers last season, second in success rate. There's maybe some schematic things that helped him out there that we'll see how that works without Ben Johnson now, but he's a fantastic player. And he's the top 3 guys are in a tier of their own. And I have, like, if I was tiering this out, Amon-Ra and Puka Nacua are solely my tier 2.
All right.
And I think they're very similar, by the way. I think Amon-Ra and Puka Nacua are very similar type guys and how they win.
All right. Shane, might as well stay with you. Like I said, our top 3s are all the same guys, but in different orders. Who do you have for number 3?
Yeah, I've got Jamar Chase at number 3, which might sound stupid because he won the Triple Crown in 2024, led the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He leads all receivers since 2022 in yards after the catch. But if you're parsing things out here and nitpicking, he had a 5.5% drop rate last year, 16th in on target catch rate, 23rd in EPA per target, 13th in yards per route run. He's a fantastic player, and I don't think you can go wrong with any of the top 3. I think they're all in the same tier, but those are my nits to pick with Jamar Chase. That's why I've got him at number 3 instead of 1 or 2.
Gotcha. Dives also number 3.
I mean, elite talent, of course. I like how he's been playing a lot more in the slot over these last few years with Tyler Boyd now not on the team. But I mean, you could probably put these top 3 in the same tier, and I wouldn't argue it.
All right, David.
Yeah, man, I love him. Explosive, fluid. He has every trait you want in a franchise wide receiver. He rebounded in a big way with Burrow, healthy all season. 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns, just incredible. He's fully in his prime. He'll command even more volume. And if Burrow stays healthy, Chase is a legit 1 receiver, 1 overall candidate for the entire NFL.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of why I had him number 1. The year he had last year was absolutely phenomenal. He's been a guy who just absolutely catches touchdowns, gets tons of yards. Is an absolute difference maker for that Bengals offense, even with the likes of a T. Higgins there as well. But he's just so darn fun, honestly. I have nothing rooting in a Bengals interest, but man, if a Bengals game is on and they're on offense, I'm absolutely watching it. So, all right, might as well stay with myself. Number 3, I had AJ Brown. I'm the lowest on AJ Brown. I'm so sorry, guys. I know everybody wants to put AJ number 1 here, and a few of you do. But I just couldn't do it. I think the dynamic with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is that, Jamar is clear cut number 1 in all things. Whereas AJ Brown, and Devontae, I feel like sometimes that role kind of blends, depending on the situation, depending on the game. You never know. That doesn't mean that AJ Brown isn't an absolute freak, talented, pass catcher. Just has he's one of the more smooth players out there. The ball just melts into his hands. Sometimes it's really something to see. But Yeah, I think he's, again, like you said, in that tier above the rest. And, I don't think you can go wrong rating any of these guys in any order. So, Dives, you had him at number 2.
Yeah, he's elite as it gets, man. After maybe a couple more, 2 or 3 more like seasons like we've seen from AJ Brown, we're having some wild conversations, and maybe we should have those conversations now about where he is in terms of best Eagles receivers ever. He's that dominant, not putting up the most numbers, but in terms of pure dominance, we've seen it, whether that's in single coverage or those quick slants. We don't do enough of those, but literally unstoppable. And he's entering his 4th season, which is crazy with the Eagles. And we saw it the second he is not part of this offense or he's hurt, how much the offense struggles. He is such a vital part of the Eagles offense. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown, the gravity he holds is so huge, and he gets so many targets. And I just think if he can stay healthy, and with Kevin Patullo maybe being more of an aggressive offense in 2025, we could see AJ Brown put up monster numbers this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Shane, your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, he obviously missed out on some volume stats last year because he missed 4 games, but you simply can't cover him one-on-one. He ranked 2nd in on-target catch rate. He had 0 drops, was 2nd in yards per route run, 4th in yards per target, 5th in EPA per target, and 4th in success rate. And you look at Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, none of them were top 5 in more than 2 of those categories. And A.J. Brown was top 5 in all of them while also having 0 drops. So for me, he's the best receiver in the NFL. He's not as good of a route runner as Justin Jefferson, I don't think, but he's just so physical it doesn't matter. You simply can't cover him one-on-one. So he's my number 1 receiver.
David, you as well.
Yeah, and this is not Eagles-colored glasses through which I'm looking through, nor am I being a homer. I mean, if I had to choose one wide receiver in the NFL for the Eagles, who are the best team in the NFL, it would be AJ. He is a violent, dominant wide receiver, combined strength, precision, swagger. The Eagles were 15-0 in games that Hurts and Brown started and finished together last year. Jalen leaned on him in every key situation. He enters this season as the top dog in Philly. His connection with the current Super Bowl MVP is one of the NFL's most lethal combinations, and I expect even more downfield shots and yak opportunities with Patullo running the offense this season.
Yeah, just a quick comment from YouTube from Brett Eclipse. That makes 3 unanimous placements of Eagles in the top 5 of their positions. And he wrote another one. Honey, Eagles Pinball Network put another Eagle unanimously in their top 5 of their position. It's fun. I mean, listen, he deserved to be there, obviously. And it's certainly tongue-in-cheek, but
you can call me a homer next week when Dallas Goedert's in the top 5, but I don't think we can do it this week with AJ Brown or last week with Saquon.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to do that with the tight end position. So, all right, let's finish this thing off. David, I'll start with you. You had him the lowest. You're number 3.
Yeah, that was mainly preference. AJ, Chase, and Jefferson are in a tier of their own, in my opinion. They're the 3 best obvious wide receivers in the game. I just prefer bigger, violent, more style bodies like Brown and Chase have. But Jefferson's a surgical route runner, elite instincts, elite body control, 1,500 yards despite massive instability at the quarterback position. He proved once again he can produce in any situation. J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings offense are going to feature him. Kevin O'Connell feeds him every single way imaginable. I'd expect another 100-yard season, elite yardage, and wide receiver 1 reliability again. I mean, he's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you mean 1,000-yard season because
what I say.
Quez Watkins could have a 100-yard season.
Oh yeah. I'd expect 100+ catches and way over catches, not yards.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm pretty sure Jalen Reagor did that at least once.
Don't ever say their name in the same sentence again.
Shane, you had him in your number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah, He's fantastic, man. And like we've all said, these top three, they're in a tier of their own. And one of my big differentiations is the drops. He had a 4.1% drop rate, which isn't bad, but it's not up there. It's better than Jamar's. It's worse than AJ Brown's, but I think he's more consistently dominant than Jamar. And so it's close between all three of them, but I've got him number 2.
Yeah. And Dibes, he's your number 1. You might be on mute.
We're back. We're so back. Just like everyone said, elite route runner, ridiculous football IQ, the way he reads the quarterback, his handwork is all as elite as it gets. And you guys watch way more football than I do. Just the little bit I've seen from Jefferson, I mean, he's just the best of the best.
Yeah, he's his route running is it's on another level, honestly. And just his kind of like AJ in a fluidity kind of way of just the way he moves his body, with AJ's hands versus, Jefferson's kind of body control, and just kind of how he runs his routes. It's again, Vikings offense on the field. I'm watching it for the sole fact of Jefferson. So, all right. Well, there you have it, folks. We made it. We had another Eagle in our top 5. But those are your top 16 wide receivers in the NFL heading into the 2025 season. If you have not checked out our previous 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago we did our top 16 quarterbacks. Last week we did our top 16 running backs. And next week we're doing our top 16 tight ends. So please stay tuned for that. We will be back on Monday at 8 o'clock, as we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So we appreciate you guys adjusting your schedule to ours. So we will hopefully see you all back. And maybe, just maybe, we'll figure out all this technology thing and get the comments working, and the YouTube will be the original post, and Facebook will work properly, or I don't know, whatever. But there you have it. Thank you all for joining us. Before we get out of here, Shane, floor is yours. Plugs, things to say, comments, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for following along, especially as we bungle through some technological issues. So hopefully we can get those figured out. But this has been fun, kind of going through position by position, looking at places. I'm not necessarily as excited to dive into tight ends next week, but I'm sure we'll have some good conversations along the way. So you guys keep it tuned here to the Eagles Pinpool Network. A lot of great content coming your way. Hit that subscribe button and drop us a comment that hopefully we'll be able to see next week.
Yeah, well, nice. Well, hopefully, yeah. Dives, floor is yours.
No, I don't have anything to add. I got a lot of work to do on the riverside of things. But anyway, that's about it.
Yeah. David, what do you got for us?
Man, just much appreciation for everybody hanging in there with us. It'll get better. It'll get easier. This was day 1, show 1, hour 1. It'll get better.
Yeah, we got word last week that we were switching to a new platform. So it is what it is. It's there's some great features here that hopefully we'll get better at and learn, and hopefully the technology will kind of roll with us here. But again, thank you all so much for joining us in our top 16 reviews, position by position. Again, go check out some of the other previous weeks. And stay tuned we're literally doing every position. Tight ends, tackles, interior offensive line. Those are the next couple ones. And then we'll switch over.
Punters. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I cannot wait. I mean, I've been waiting for you guys to catch up. We have like an Excel sheets that we're sharing, and I'm already weeks ahead. So, come on, catch up. But, all right, y'all. Appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Sorry we couldn't get all the comments that we wanted to on the screen. We just didn't have it available. But we'll go back and watch it and certainly see all the comments then. So thank you all so much. We're going to get out of here. Please make sure you give a like, you give a follow, and you give a share to all of our Eagles Pinpool Network shows here throughout the week. And we will see you guys next Monday for Birds of the Round Table. Have a great week. Go Birds.